Yeah, I understand that you can help me with feedback.
Welcome. I understand that you want to learn how to give someone tough feedback. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Good, I can help. The Shift Positive method is grounded in positive psychology and social support. Feedback can be difficult because of the negativity bias. We naturally focus more on what's going wrong. This can make feedback hard since people are on guard for criticism, and we often see what's not working rather than what could be better. We also tend to overlook things we're not actively looking for, a phenomenon called inattentional blindness. To counteract these biases, we'll focus on what you want to see more of, not what's broken or should stop. Also, change doesn't happen in isolation. Feedback is relational. You have a role in helping your colleague grow. I'll guide you through this process, helping you frame your feedback in a way that is constructive and actionable. Are you ready to begin? I'd like to start by asking your name and your colleague's name.
So my name is Pete, and my colleague's name is Frank.
Great, Pete. Let's get started. What is the tough feedback you have for Frank? I understand this might be something that's been frustrating or challenging. Share what's on your mind, and then we'll work together to turn it into a constructive and solution-focused approach.
Okay, so Frank has been a great individual contributor. He was promoted not long ago. And the thing is, he is just running all over his staff. And what I mean by that is that he cuts them off. He speaks over them. He thinks that he's right. He's got this attitude that he's got the right answer. And frankly, no pun intended, he's been the smartest person in the room a lot of his career. But now he needs to get more stuff out of other people. And I think it's failing.
I hear you, Pete. It sounds like Frank has been highly successful as an individual contributor, but stepping into leadership requires a different approach, one where he brings out the best in his team rather than just having the right answers himself. That transition can be tough, especially for someone who's used to excelling on their own. If Frank were even more effective in his role, what would that look like? How would he engage with his team differently?
Well, I think he would stop doing what he's doing. I think he would get the sense that other people have stuff to contribute and not think that he is the one. And so I see people just tuning out after he starts to talk or when he cuts them off. And I think he just kind of needs to be told.
I get it, Pete. You want Frank to recognize that his team has valuable input and create space for them to contribute. Instead of focusing on what he should stop doing, let's think about what he could do instead. If Frank were leading in a way that encouraged his team, what specific behaviors would you see? Would he be asking more questions, pausing before responding, actively inviting different perspectives? What would that look like in a meeting?
All of those would be good. I mean, definitely actively soliciting other people's ideas, I think would go a long way. Just slowing down and listening, or maybe even paraphrasing what people would say, would make them feel more heard. So I think that has a lot to do with it, is helping people feel valued and heard.
That makes a lot of sense, Pete. If Frank were to slow down, actively invite input, and paraphrase what others say, his team would feel more valued and heard. That shift could really help them stay engaged and contribute more. What's one small, achievable step Frank could take in the next few months to move in that direction? Maybe something like setting an intention to ask for input before giving his own thoughts, or making a habit of summarizing what someone says before responding.
I think both of those are good. So yeah, if he would ask other people, what do you think? If he would make eye contact with them and let them finish without that physical sense that he's going to jump in on them, I think that would go a long way.
That's really clear and actionable, Pete. If Frank started asking, "What do you think?" and made eye contact while letting people finish, his team would likely feel more included and heard. That small shift could have a big impact on his leadership. Now, let's talk about you. What's one thing you can do to support Frank in making this change? Maybe modeling it in meetings, giving him a nudge if you see him about to jump in, or even acknowledging when he does it well.
So why is this that I need to be doing that?
Great question, Pete. Change doesn't happen in isolation. People don't just flip a switch and suddenly lead differently. If
Okay.
no one is looking for or reinforcing Frank's efforts to change, it's easy for him to fall back into old habits. Your role isn't to fix him, but as someone who sees the impact of his leadership, you can help by noticing and encouraging his progress. Even something as simple as recognizing when he holds back and lets someone finish can reinforce the behavior. So what's one small thing you'd be willing to do to support him?
Yeah, I think that's it. That's what I notice the most is if he were to sit back, if he were to ask other individuals, what thoughts do you have? And actually relax so that they can finish and then maybe paraphrase a little bit. I'd be happy to watch for that. I think that would just really save the team.
That's a great commitment, Pete. By watching for those moments and acknowledging when Frank creates space for others, you'll reinforce the change and help him see the impact. To summarize, you appreciate that Frank is smart and capable, but want to see him shift from having the answers to bringing out the best in his team. For him to be more effective, he could ask for others' input, make eye contact, let people finish, and paraphrase their thoughts to show he's listening. A small step he could take is consciously asking, "What do you think?" and holding back before jumping in. Your role will be to notice when he does this and reinforce it, helping him build that new habit. Does that summary sound right to you? And do you feel more equipped to have this conversation with him?
Yeah, that sounds. I think I can do that. Is it right that I could actually practice this conversation with you, and if I wanted to, I don't need to right now, and I can get a transcript of what we've come up with?
Absolutely, Pete. You can practice the conversation with me whenever you're ready. I can help you refine how you say it so it lands well with Frank. And yes, you can get a transcript of what we've discussed so you can refer back to it. Just let me know how you'd like to proceed when you're ready.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. Thank you.
You're welcome, Pete. You're taking a really thoughtful approach to this, and I think Frank and the team will benefit from it. Whenever you're ready to practice or revisit anything, just let me know.
I will. Thanks.
You got it, Pete. Good luck with the conversation.